Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, this particular violent Anglo male shoots 4 other Anglo people in this small town bar in Anaconda, Montana. Another white on white heinous criminality. See, a few days ago, when you had that situation at the Army base in in Georgia, where this particular black male took the life of a few people, and instead of it being an individual situation, right? How many people made it a group racial situation, right? Oh my goodness. See, black people always complain about racism, but look at that person did that. And then the situation in Cincinnati brawl. Oh my goodness, black people are so violent. Even though the personnel who started the instigation was numbers of personnel within the Padam-based culture, or should we say Anglo adjacent ones that sit there and slap, however, black personnel, and then utilize the N-word and stuff like that. But of course, main media controlled by however versions of Angloism and however ones that slide under the people of color minority trickery situation, they don't want to talk about that part. Just like this right here. They don't want to talk about white on white crime, 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 right? Because that personnel is neurotic, right? Because as long as it's something dealing with black, oh my goodness, why are black people doing that? Even though collective American blacks do not commit the most crimes, never have. But black Americans have the most anti-against type people in America, because black Americans have the largest hate crimes put upon them. But various types of main media, they don't want to talk about that. Black adjacent hodders and tethers who flee from their countries, they ain't gonna talk about it because most of them can't get SHIT together in their own dang country, so they wouldn't have fled, right? And this is why, again, there's no such thing as black and brown coalition, because they doing a little thing and playing sidetrack games, right? And there's no such thing as black and yellow games. Get out here with that. That's made up. So let me go ahead and share my screen on this. Right here. Make sure you can see this. And this is why it's essential for me also to do these topics as a timepiece purpose. Because again, the system knows that many people have short-term memories, and all of a sudden, because things are created in chaotic chaos by various types of supremacists in the system. So when you don't know through the games, they can sit there and just throw out anything and show somebody the black person doing this and saying, oh my goodness, black and black and black and black, right? So that goes. So it said the police find the getaway car of this Anglo violent Army veteran suspect of a deadly Montana bar shooting. This article is August 2nd, 2025. I think it was the day before this happened. Today is August 8th, 2025. Look at this deadly white on white criminality assailant. But shh. Police have found the getaway car of a U.S. military veteran, Anglo military veteran, who walked into a bar in the western state of Montana on Friday morning and fatally shot 4 Anglo people. But the Anglo gunman remains at large. The shooting happened at the Owl Bar in the city of Anaconda at around 10:30 local time. The Montana Division of Highway Personnel, the bar owner told this particular entity he thinks the suspect just snapped. And interesting, they just snapped, right? Do they think the situation with the black guy, what he did, a few people he had shot and stuff like that on the Army base and that Georgia base? Do you hear people talking about, oh, he just snapped? No, they look at it as that nig. See the hypocrisy, and it's an automatic thought pattern because it's ingrained. It's ingrained in various parts of society within certain parts of Panama's culture. Very few small exceptions. It's ingrained to not look at that person's own criminality, their own white on white criminality. It's ingrained not to see that. Enforcement said they have found the white Ford F-150 pickup that the suspect used to flee, a different version of fleeing the scene, but no sign of the Anglo gunman. Authorities are now focusing their search in a mountainous area west of Anaconda and have asked residents in the area to stay home and lock their doors. The Anaconda Deer Lodge some enforcement named the suspect as Michael Paul Brown in a social media post, adding he is believed to be armed and dangerous. According to the public records, he lived next door to the bar. The owner of the Owl Bar, such and such person who was not there at the time of the shooting, told the associate. Anyway, you got the entity right here. He knew everyone that was in that bar. I guarantee you that he didn't have any running dispute with any of them. What with any of them? I just think he snapped. Here we go again, making excuses for Anglo white on white criminality, right? Now, if that had been a black person, there's no such thing as he just snapped. He's, oh my goodness, that's just black people. They full of criminality. The hypocrisy is very real, and they know it's not enough. There are millions within American blackism that just don't get it on that situation. That allow people to keep playing this black on black crime, right? Mantra, but don't sit there and roast people back with white on white criminality. Who are the most criminality type personnel in history in America over centuries, with very few exceptions, right? The Anglo suspect, the violent, armed, and dangerous Anglo suspect, is a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, Army. A spokesman for the Army told U.S. media, such and such said the guy, Mr. Brown, served as an armored crewman from 2001 to 2005 and was deployed in Iraq from 2004 to 2005. I'm just going to start with that right there. But at the same time, right? Black people commit these crimes. Black people commit crimes left and right, right? Let me share this other video. Give me one moment here. All right, let me share this video. One moment, make sure you can see that.
Manhunt in Montana is in its fourth day today. Police are now searching for an Army veteran accused of killing 4 people in a bar. CBS's Omar Villafranca is in the small town of Anaconda with the latest on this.
We're going to catch this guy.
Law enforcement in western Montana believe Michael Paul Brown is still in the area around Anaconda. That's where the 45-year-old is accused of killing 4 people at the Owl Bar Friday morning. Bartender Nancy Loretta Kelly and 3 patrons, Daniel Edwin Bailey, David Allen Leach, and Tony Wayne Palm.
This is a dangerous individual who has committed an absolutely heinous crime. This individual who has committed an absolutely heinous crime against this community and these victims.
Police say Brown, an Iraq War veteran, stole a vehicle that had clothes and camping gear inside of it. And while hundreds of that had clothes and victims. Police say Brown, an Iraq War veteran, stole a vehicle that had clothes and camping gear inside of it. And while hundreds of officers continue the search behind me on this mountain, residents remain on edge.
It's an uneasy feeling knowing that there's someone out there that has the capacity to do this and we don't know where they are.
No, you mean that this particular Anglo violent male, right? Let's be a little bit more specific.
Authorities say the suspect.
And by the way, and look at this. Look at that area. Oh my goodness, but look, Detroit and Chicago, as if Detroit and Chicago don't have a lot of great looking places to stay at, right? Interesting how they don't talk about the dilapidation and how many places in America that numbers of Anglo personnel are at, the one it applies to, right? Interesting, they don't talk about the one that stay in those dilapidated areas, right? Mm-hmm.
Lived next to the bar and was a regular there. People who know Brown claim he has mental health issues.
Again, right? Sidetracking, minimization, right? And I get tired, and it is an insult to the people who truly suffer from mental illness, right? Now, personnel does this crazy, terrible things, and all of a sudden, bam! Especially if it's some personnel within certain parts of Angloism, the one it applies to, it's mental health. But if a black person does something, it's mental health. They can't even spell the word mental health, right? It's about, oh my goodness, black people always doing criminality, right? And again, there's just not enough American black personnel to call this hypocrisy out.
Michael always had fictitious stories that he would be telling people, and it seemed just like long tales.
That's enough of that. So again, the one-sidedness when numbers of Anglos commit white on white crime, white on white crime, white on white crime, white on white crime, then it's, oh, well, numbers of them suffer from mental illness, right? Instead of it being, no, there needs to be accountability about white on white criminality. Let's hear from the greatness of Deputy Sheriff Bonnie Fife from the Great Andy Griffin Show.
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Whoa, wait. Deputy Bonnie Fife, what should we be doing about this white on white criminality epidemic that is saturating various parts of America, right? What should we be doing about this?
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Yes. Last video I want to share. Make sure you can see this.
In previous reports, we've spoken a lot about the alleged killer, Michael Brown, but who we haven't spoken a lot about yet is the 4 people who unexpectedly lost their lives.
It's just such a shock. The whole town is just heartbroken. We're just in shock.
If you were to walk a block down the street from the Owl Bar, you would see the JFK Bar, where Jill Rolls works as a bartender. Jill tells me she's known 64-year-old Nancy Loretta Kelly for 10 years.
I was with her the night before at I Throw Horseshoes, and her boyfriend was throwing against us. So she was here watching him play. Just all outside having fun, chatting.
The next day, Nancy, along with 74-year-old Tony Wayne Palm, 70-year-old David Allen Leach, and 59-year-old Daniel Edwin Bailey were all shot and killed in a mass shooting. Jill tells me she doesn't know much about the other 3 victims.
I only knew Tony from coming in to the bar when I was bartending.
But Jill did know Nancy. She says Nancy was more than a friend.
She was an oncology nurse, and she helped take care of my dad when he had cancer. She explained everything to my mom and I very well to help us understand what he was going through.
Nancy wasn't just a friendly face to Jill.
She has a huge heart. She loves animals. Every animal loved her. She walked around town carrying bones for all the dogs. They all knew Nancy. She was just a great person, would do anything for anybody.
Other Anaconda locals I spoke with agreed with Jill. Nancy was known and loved by many. Even in the short time I was at the scene, several folks placed flowers and paid their respects to their 4 community members of Anaconda who lost their lives last Friday.
Oh, it's very tight-knit. Everybody knows everybody.
Jill tells me the entire town looking for justice.
It's crazy. Everybody wants to go out there, and they're mad because everybody loved Nancy so much, and they feel like he should be done the same thing to him.
Now again, if that would have been a black man and he was in Anaconda, I'm just giving an example. I think there are a few thousand in that town of Anaconda, Montana. I mean, even though black personnel in Anaconda would be barely to registering, right? Barely to registering. But just saying hypothetically, if that was a black man, and already how many people be eyeballing, what's this black man doing over here? Right? Because you know there'll be whispers of conversation. Oh, well, you know, what's that black man or black couple doing over there? But especially the black man, right? And if he did that to these four elders, right, especially the ones in their 70s, and he did that, a Negro, monkey, orangutan animal did that to these wholesome Anglo elders, they'd have been like, find a rope. Wait a minute now. Why got to be like that? Why can't it be just, hey, man, you know, he made a mistake. We'll just let justice go through the system. And once they arrest him, we'll just let the justice, you know, we'll just, he's innocent until proven guilty. They be like, get the hell out of our faces. Get the rope. But of course, when it's something dealing with Anglo-ness, violentness, and white criminality, white on white criminality, then it's, well, I mean, no, well, it's not racial then, is it? Hypocrisy maximum. But instead, again, let's hear what Deputy Bonnie Fife again. Let's see what he might think about this. Or at least, should I say, let's see what the symbolism of what he says in this situation also applies to this scenario. Uh-oh. Oh, guess they didn't like, hold on, give me a second. I guess this silly freaking, whatever this algorithm thing going on with it, that does not allow that, does not like certain things to be shown on it. So let me just do this one more time. Here we go.
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Yes, let's nip it in the bud. This epidemicness of white on white criminality. Let's nip it in the bud. But of course, in the system of supremacy, which is the most awesome mental manipulation force that ever existed, it has to have racial racism, terrorism, coming from certain ones within certain parts of Ptolemy's culture, the ones that this applies to, and ones that want to be like certain ones within the Ptolemy's culture. And the list goes on. It must have chaos and it must have hypocrisy. Because again, if this was a black man that did that, there'd be all kind of racial, racism, terrorism terminology. I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.